Welcome to Diplomatic Channel this week. I am Amarachi Ubani. This week, Nigeria begins the centenary celebrations, and Lagos State is a venue for the first event, which is a centenary fundraising ball on Tuesday. And the theme for the centenary celebration centers around the key concepts of unity, indivisibility, virility, progress, and promise of the Nigerian Federation. President Goodluck Jonathan will be hosting an international conference on peace and security in Africa on the 27th, and about 28 heads of state and international leaders are expected to attend. The president will be delivering the lead paper, which will focus on securing the continent against terrorists. But one of the main highlights of the celebrations will be the honoring of 100 Nigerians, 40% of whom are no longer living. But those achievements in these 100 years have impacted greatly on the country. The honorees will be drawn from sports, the civil service, the academia, the arts, and those who run international organizations. Some of the names on that list, which we found out, are the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, Lord Frederick Lugard, Herbert Macaulay, Professor Claude Ike, and Chinua Achebe, many more coming later. But it's going to be a fun week of celebrations for those who will be fortunate enough to attend. Our channel's television will be bringing you as much of the events as we can. And while these celebrations are ongoing, it is important to reflect on how far we've come as a nation. Now, I don't know how much of the nation's history is being taught in schools, but here's a start. I do hope is general knowledge. A country we have come to know and call and love as Nigeria, our home and our fatherland, was created in 1914 when the Northern and Southern Protectorates came under a unified administration by Sir Frederick Lugard. A former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Odeyin Ajimogobia, tells the rest.
Indirect rule was the celebrated model applied by Britain and its protectorates to gain stability and sustainability. The key element of the strategy was straightforward: manipulation of the local rulers and people to foster distrust and even enmity between and amongst them. Where traditional chieftaincy did not exist in Nigeria, the novelty of warrant chiefs was invented. English language, especially its emergent local variants of Pidgin English, was an important facilitator. It was successfully introduced as the official language and as our lingua franca at independence in the absence of a common vernacular. British best-selling author Frederick Forsyth, in his short biography, Emeka, on the life of Dim Odumegu Ejukwu, recounts an amusing episode about the young Oxford University-educated Emeka as a most unlikely army recruit being asked by a drill sergeant to name the particular part of a rifle. "The safety catch," said Ojukwu confidently. "Wrong," said the triumphant sergeant, who was testing the recruits. "Saplika." From 1914, in the area of commerce and industry, Nigeria provided a substantial and sustained volume and a wide variety of primary products such as palm oil, palm kernel, groundnuts, cocoa, corn, maize, rubber, hides, cotton, timber, iron ore, gold, and for 2 years before independence, crude oil. These were all documented in annual colonial reports to the British Parliament. The territory soon also became a ready market for globally respected made-in-England brand of quality manufactured goods. Economic growth of the territory was obviously not an objective of the colonial administration. Investment in infrastructure was therefore limited to the building of essential facilities, provision of electricity and water, and urbanization of key commercial and administrative centers, railways and feeder roads, bridges, waterways, and limited port facilities. These were all needed to exploit the local resources and markets to serve British imperial interests. But it went beyond trade. Britain's influence in its colony, both before and after independence, extended far beyond trade. Our primary and post-primary educational system especially was broadly patterned on the British elementary and boarding school systems. First to be established were missionary schools founded and administered by the Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, Baptist, and Presbyterian churches. This was the evangelical vanguard that I alluded to. Schools such as King's College, Lagos, 1909, the first government-owned high school, Government College Zaria, later renamed Barewa College, formed in 1923, which counts amongst its illustrious alumni 5 heads of state of Nigeria. Queen's College Lagos, 1927, together with several other famous federal government colleges and schools. Tertiary education institutions, beginning with Yaba Higher College, which was formed in 1932, and the University College Ibadan, 1947, that became affiliated with the University of London in 1948, and which hosted the first medical faculty and teaching hospital, were also established by the colonial government. These colleges and institutions have produced generations of first-class public servants and professionals that continue to provide the core of Nigerian leadership and manpower. The training of the Nigerian police force and soon to be extraordinarily influential military, with several army defense chiefs and at least 5 or 6 of the 8 military heads of state attending Sandhurst or other famous British military academies, was also undertaken by the British bureaucracy.
But what is Nigeria without its colonial master, Britain? Over the years, Britain has succeeded in limiting its interference with the country and instead accepted a relationship that's based on equal partnership. And that brings me to an interview I had with the British Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Peter Carter, about a year ago. Nigeria was just turning 53 and we were looking ahead on Britain's expectations for the country at the time of its independence. Nigeria just turned 53 and we've come a long way in our foreign relations, especially with the UK. How does the UK perceive Nigeria now compared to back then when she just became independent in 1960?
Well, in 1960, our main concern was to ensure that we handed over to independent Nigeria a stable government that would work for the benefit of the Nigerian people making their own decisions about their future. Here we are now in 2013. Nigeria has a substantial history of its own as an independent country. It has faced numerous challenges over the past 53 years of independence. But what we have now is a democracy, a flourishing democracy, and a very vibrant democracy. So I would say we have 2 main interests as far as Nigeria is concerned. To support and sustain Nigerian democracy and Nigeria's development and growth, and to contribute to that process through trade and investment in particular, both in our interest and in the interest of Nigeria.
So we did meet your expectations after all?
In many ways, yes. Nigeria is as it were, growing up very, very nicely. And I think Nigerians have every reason to be proud of their achievements over the past 50 or so years. We still consider ourselves part of the efforts that Nigeria is making. We think of ourselves as a close partner and friend of Nigeria, and we're keen for that relationship to continue as 2 partners, both equal, both committed to democracy, to freedom, and to economic growth and development.